What's up, guys? Today is going to be a very different video. Most of my content I usually post exposed videos, or I post non-Halo videos, or I just post like random, like me playing, raids or comp or whatever. And this video is going to be very different because I usually expose people, but I usually don't clear people's names, but I am going to be doing this on this video. So at April 5th, 2025, this person by Kira, she leads the Okuruma Bloodline on Halo Infinite. They're a pretty decent sized bloodline from what I know. She went to me and was telling me that her ex R'd her and beat her and stuff like that, and she sent me that evidence, and I even told her, as you see in the screenshot, I have been dealing with a lot of cases and other issues, and I just didn't really have the time to look at it. But recently, a couple days ago, I ended up looking at the evidence, and I realized that most of the evidence she sent me actually proves him to be innocent and her lying. Now, I'm not 100% saying that she is lying, because she could be telling the truth. However, the evidence she provided just isn't enough to call him a R-word or a woman beater. So, she's also been sending people to harass this guy for 2 to 3 years without enough evidence. Like, people were just harassing him or sending him messages. Like, she was trying to get me to post this guy on YouTube and just, like, basically expose him and stuff like that. But the thing is, the evidence just isn't enough. Now, I wasn't there. I'm not 100% saying she's lying. I'm only going by the current evidence that I have. I'm putting that here for the video. What is factual is she's falsely slandering someone's name without proof. She is saying things about him without proof. She is sending people after him without enough proof. That is the facts. So I'm going to go ahead and provide you to what she sent me, and you guys can decide on what you believe. And I'm going to be as fair as I can. I also want to say this before I get started, that I think they're both were toxic. I think they both did mistakes they shouldn't have did. I think they both were bad for each other, but I don't think that would be equivalent to beating or R-ing someone. What I mean by R is like diddy, diddle, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started now. So the evidence that was provided to me, this is probably the only thing that, like, any like screenshot or any actual proof that he probably could have did it, is there's a door, a broken door and a hole in the wall. And the thing is that even though that is pretty messed up, that there's a hole in the door and a wall, I mean, she could have, for all we know, she could have did that herself. Or he could have just done that out of anger. Instead of hitting her, he hit the wall. I know a lot of people, they don't want to take their anger out on others, physically. So they punch non-living objects so they can just let out their anger. That's not enough proof to show that someone R'd you or beat you. That's punching a wall. Or she could have just did that herself and said that he did it. It's just not enough. So yeah, that's one thing. He's my friend too, that's why I felt betrayed, but sure, I'll show you. This is what he did to me when we argued. He broke down the door trying to get to me because I had the door locked. You know what consent is, right? Well, he believes that if you are already having sex, that the consent can't be withdrawn from the equation. Go ahead and ask him about it, and I'm sorry if I'm sounding hostile. This shit really fucking hurts, that people don't believe what I know is true. So, you just admitted that you had consensual sex with him, and okay, the only thing I can say that could go with what she said is if they agreed to have sex and then she said no and tried to get him off and he still didn't. But the only evidence that she can provide of that happening is no marks on her. Remember, there's no marks on her. None of that. Just a broken door. Just a broken door that she could have easily broken. That's not enough evidence to call someone that. I'm going to be providing you guys more evidence, including some video audio that you guys can listen to.
I am going to say this. If you would have told me the truth the very first time when I asked.
About what?
Tiffany.
Oh.
Then I possibly could have looked past it. But you proceeded to constantly fight with me and argue with me about it and put me down over it. And yet, here we are, you're telling me the truth now after you've left me.
Just because you kind of just, like, you brought it out at me, man. Like, you pissed me off to the point where I said, fuck it. I don't really give a fuck anymore. I'm just going to tell you how it is.
That's the thing. Why couldn't you just tell me in the beginning?
Because, you know, if I tell you something that's going to hurt you, reason why I got two reasons. I don't care if they're not good enough for you or not, but these are the reasons why, okay? So just bear with me. Number one, I didn't tell you because I know that you're a little stab. That's why every time we get to an argument and I lock the door and I unlock the door and I say, what's in your pockets, where's the knife at? Because I really do not want to get stabbed over something.
I was never going to stab you.
Because, like, if you were to stab me, I would take you with me.
I was never going to stab you.
Okay, well, it's happened in my past numerous times. They missed, thankfully. Except for one of them, they got my arm, but they didn't stab my arm, they just grazed it. Number two is because I was drunk and intoxicated. Not severely, but it was literally, like, you drink. You're an ex-alcoholic that might be an alcoholic again. I don't know. I'm not accusing you. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying, have you ever been, like, lightweight drunk that everything seems like a dream?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the rate that I was at. I didn't know if it was real. I didn't know if it was fake. And to be honest with you, whenever she sent me that message and caught me off guard, and I was worried sick because I was in a car with your nieces and nephew, you babysitting someone else's kid because they're too lazy to be doing them themselves, and your mom.
Okay.
So I got stressed, my anxiety hit in, and I didn't want to talk about it, so I just said, fuck it. And every time we brought it up and everything like that, it was just a constant repeated cycle.
Yeah, because I wanted you to tell me the truth and you kept lying to my face. And then you proceeded to talk to her again when you knew the truth. Why would you talk to her again if you were supposed to be with me? Unless you fucking enjoyed it and you wanted it again.
No, like, the reason why I decided to talk to her again is because every time that, you know, someone does something sexual to you, flirts with you, makes you blush and all this shit, and it makes you feel warm inside and all this shit, you don't tell me until literally the next fucking day. And whenever you do that in a relationship, instead of, like, you know, on TikTok, whenever someone says, hey, gorgeous, blah, blah, and you handed me the phone, like, that's whenever I was like, okay, cool, this is what's up. I got a loyal one. But whenever, like, I'm not saying you're not loyal, I'm just, like, bear with me. I'm saying that, you know, whenever you started to not tell me until, like, 24 hours later, that's whenever, like, I assume in my head, be like, okay, well, maybe she's regretting playing with herself and talking to them and shit, and then she's going to come to me and tell me about it and try to make me, you know, be pissed off at everything and fucking flip out on them.
Yeah, no,
like,
I never once cheated on you, ever. And I told you what cheating makes me do.
Whenever you was cross-faded, high and drunk, and Tally was talking to you and shit, like, yeah, cool, you felt uncomfortable. But at the same time, when all the other times, like, it just, you know, it just clicked in my head. It's like, wow, well, if you're going to keep telling me a day after whenever you're sober, or fucking 24 hours later, or fucking a half a day later, then I'm just going to fucking, you know, hit up Tiffany and see what she's doing. At first it was for friends and shit. And then whenever, you know, like, we broke up, it went from being friends to something more. I mean, I'm not with her, I'm still single, but...
So, okay, so, because I didn't tell you right away when it was happening, or right after it happened, that automatically means I cheated?
It's not the fact of you telling me after it happens, it's the fact that you didn't tell me as it was happening.
So that automatically means that I'm a cheater.
I don't care if I was asleep. I don't care if I was awake. I don't care if I was beating my fucking dick. Like, you
Trey, I was honestly fucking terrified of you. Why would I
Hold on, my dad's calling me.
Okay.
You guys notice in that recording, she didn't deny what he said about the knife thing, that every time they argue she has a knife and he locks himself. Does that really sound like an abuser to you? She's saying that he beats her, but he's literally locking himself in a room so she doesn't stab him, and she doesn't deny having the knife at all. So that, I mean, if anything, that proves that she was probably more violent than he was, because again, a knife, punching a door, like, again, even then, she could have easily put holes in that door or wall, right? But let's just compare it. Holding a knife, having your partner scared to where you're being locked in a room and you have to ask if your partner hasn't had a knife on them because they think you're going to stab them, or a hole in the wall or a hole in the door. Even though, even then, it's not even fully proof that he even did that. Yeah, I think a knife is way more fucking scary and way more violent. And she didn't deny that. She didn't deny having the knife, and she didn't deny him saying, like, yeah, you do it every time in an argument. Like, bro, that's just insane to me. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and play the next recording.
Flee.
Exactly. And exactly what I just said, you know, Tally told me and Squeak told me that pretty much what I just said. You know, you're trying to ruin my life, and that's why I've been trying to come at you and shit. And I'm just letting you know right now, like, it's honestly whatever. I'm done with this shit. I don't care. I'm going to be working up here. I'm going to be getting an apartment in my own name, be a head honcho of my own house. Getting a Dodge Ram 1500 for only 12 grand. And the mill that I'll be working at is a flour mill, which I would be getting paid $1,400 within 2 weeks.
Okay.
But at the same time, I hope to God that you...
And the people are literally going to him, telling him what she is saying about wanting to ruin his life. And if you guys look at the screenshot, she literally says, I love you, but I hate what you did to us, and, you know, you left me with the bills unpaid. So she had to pay the bills. You know, he left when she had to pay for everything. That literally shows a motive on why she would want to lie and, like tell that to people and try to ruin his reputation, take away his friends and everything else. She literally, it's a literal motive. Like, she sent me this evidence, and I'm like, dude, most of this evidence proves him innocent. It just proves her to be violent. It proves to her to be a liar. And again, that's just my personal opinion on it. I'm not going to sit there and listen to her because she's an e-girl. Well, she's an e-girl. I'm going to beat off to her voice and just listen to everything she's saying, and oh my god, she's a girl. No, listen, men go through abusive relationships too. It's very possible. It's possible. Like, people need to stop just believing her blindly just because she's a female. My God, listen, from the evidence that's provided, he is innocent. And I showed a motive. She has a great motive to why she won't do that. And again, what I mean by a great one is, I mean, she's in the wrong for doing that, but she has a right to be angry for that, because I would be mad. I probably wouldn't say that, but I would be really mad at my partner if they did that. This is him denying it. This is what he said. So when did I argue? When did I lay my hands on you? Like, he literally says himself, like, he didn't do it. And you know what the worst part is, people? He lost friends over this stuff. Remember guys, from the evidence I showed, he doesn't show any sort of actual proof of any beatings or any fucking, I mean, if anything, it shows proof of her being violent, not him. And again, I'm not saying that she's fully in the wrong, because, you know, it's two sides to every story. I understand that, right? And I'm not saying that he was not, like, that he was a great partner and he didn't make mistakes and cheat, because he did cheat and he did leave her without, you know, the bills not being paid, and he's honestly a piece of shit for that, and I'm acknowledging that. But The accusations of him beating her or, diddling or R-ing her is just not enough proof. And he lost friends because of it. Like, literally, he lost a lot of friends because of it. And I want to clear his name. This is what I'm going to say. He's innocent until proven guilty. She made no report. Let me make it clear to you people. She made no police report on it. She took no pictures of any bruises on her or anything like that. She didn't have anything. The only thing that she has is slander and hearsay, slander, and just a picture of a door with and a wall with holes in it, which could mean anything. She could have put it there herself. Maybe he got angry and he punched a door or he punched a wall, or maybe maybe it was an accident. I don't know. Like, we don't know who made that hole in the wall and the door. And even if he did do that, that is not enough proof to show someone to say it if someone is beating you or R-ing you. That is the end of the video, and I just want to point out to you guys that she's just not a reliable source. You can't trust her with information. She's known to manipulate and use people and just throw them away like she did this person. She's known to cause problems and issues, and overall just being a nuisance to people. I'm telling you right now, in my personal opinion, from the evidence that is provided, right? I'm not saying it's 100% true. From the evidence that's provided, she has been slandering this guy's name for a long time. So if you were one of the people that's been harassing Trey and falsely accusing him without legitimate proof of him doing this, you need to stop and you need to apologize to him, because she is completely in the wrong. She cannot be doing that to someone without evidence. Now, if there's evidence that pops up where he is actually guilty, and remember, it's been 2 to 3 years. If there's, and she says she has none. If there's somehow evidence that pops it up, I would delete this video. But from the evidence that is provided, he is innocent until proven guilty. And that is all. Stop the harass. Don't harass him no more. She did not provide enough evidence. The people that are simping for her and believing her just because she's telling a sob story, you need to go by evidence, not motion, not by sob story. You need to go by evidence. Evidence is key. If this was an actual court right now and they saw all this and all the evidence that she has, quote unquote, against him, it would prove more that she's more it would be proof that she is more violent than he is. This is the end of the video. I'm done.